Yeah, I'm
All
on a
right.
podcast.
Happy Halloweener. No. So we're back.
And we're back.
Adam's here.
2, 3, 4.
Yeah. Hi, we're back on Think Me with Adam here. And we got
James.
Yeah.
Andrew.
Danielle and Andrew. All right. We're going to attack some comments today. We were just saying, so you guys comment, and then a month and a half later, a video will come out where we talk about your comment. So in the interim time, I don't want to leave you hanging, so I write a text response. So that's a little weird, sure, but this is what we're doing right now, and hopefully we'll get it. We're going to kind of try to reduce the backlog so it doesn't take so long. So, are you,
sorry.
Honey.
Sorry. No, I'm getting a little yogurt. That's it. Just don't mind me. I'll be done quick.
Is it full fat with a touch of honey? Because that's a once a week treat.
Are you putting a fruit in that?
It's I'm gonna put banana in it, but it's not. There's no added sugar. It's just plain. It's the plain Greek yogurt. I ate it with banana pretty much every day.
Where can people get a jungle corn shirt like that? Jungle corn.
Oh yeah, right. They're making new ones that are custom with the actual theme for the Playfest too, just like Ali used to do because he stopped doing the shirts.
Now,
but this you can't get. This you'd have to come to my house and fight me for it.
Is Jungle Core aware that like Amazon's gonna sue your ass?
I hope they do, man. We were actually really hoping they would, because then we were gonna make an album the whole time about being sued by Amazon and record it all.
Publicity.
How good would that have been? That would have been the best 100%. Thing ever. We even toyed with an idea of because Eric he's a web designer, so we were even toying with the idea of making a website that mirrored Amazon, even though we don't sell products, just to try to get them to sue us.
You are playing with fire. Yeah. Awesome.
How great would that be? We wouldn't care. We'd change our name eventually, and then we'd be known as the band that was sued by Amazon.
Yeah, you were just a flash in the pan, non-evil entity, but being sued really blew you up.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been amazing. But no, we don't share enough in common with them. They don't care about us. They're like, whatever. We did steal their arrow exactly and flip it upside down though. Same shade, literally same arrow.
We're dipping it in the mailbag already?
Well, I don't know.
Was there a birthday card from my grandmother containing a $12 check?
I thought that's what I'm doing. We don't have to do it.
Containing a $12.
I have this package with envelopes in it.
Oh, the kitty over there.
I just didn't know we were starting already. So yeah, let's start. Where did you get a gun?
We already did the whole Duck Hunt soundtrack in different episodes. So Connor Koskela channel, I thought this was just a cool idea that could have some merit and wanted to see how it could relate to some things I've been working with. After looking into it further, my mind is actually kind of blown. I had no clue what I was actually seeing, taking the time now to begin learning and understanding it. Awesome channel, dude. It occurs to me that this was the second comment, and I should have read the first.
Oh, well, it doesn't. Is there a story arc that we're missing?
Yes. Yeah.
Can I fully enjoy the Meg 16 if I didn't see the Meg 15?
I doubt it. Not
doubt
fully.
it.
So at Connor Koskela, I'd be curious to hear what people think about this. Following these 12 levels, the altitudes, it seems everyone is born at a certain level, which can be described roughly by how they feel about the world. He corrects this later. This is not what I'm doing. You're not born at one of the 12 levels. You're born at level 1, and you go through the levels as you develop. This is a vertical stage system, which means it's not like everyone is one of these levels for life. It's like everyone goes through something that resembles all 12 of these in succession. You don't skip stages. You go one stage at a time upward. Going downward is called regression. That also happens, but you're trying to go upward. In general, people go upward unless something bad happens.
Something we just talked about that I guess I just sort of implicitly got, but worth mentioning is that it is waves, and that you dip above and below where you're at, but you sort of have a core spot.
The center of gravity, yeah.
New sort of concept for me. It makes sense once you hear it, but you don't click into a tier and never leave it until you click into the next or click into the other. It's a wave.
All these memes are active potentials, and you're kind of picking one at any given moment, and it's going to be either the one that you center on, or like maybe the one above, maybe the one below, or maybe if you're really fixated, you might go real far down, or But yeah, in general, they're waves and lines. You have multiple aspects of yourself that are going to be at different levels.
Yeah,
you're talking. Yeah.
I was just saying, which is why some even say that these waves, like there's the progression through them happens on a long form scale. It also happens in micro scales. Like you can, if you like apply it to it, you might be going through all of them in one day, or even in one moment in some cases.
Yeah. Yep. And the center of gravity is this very gradual upward, but on a daily arc, you might be all over the map. And then and also, which can be described roughly by how they feel about the world. I think it was Hawkins' scale. It's a vertical scale, but it's the Donnie Darko scale from fear to love. And I feel like it's an oversimplification because these aren't stages of like emotional happiness. At any stage, you could have any emotion, from fear, dread, anxiety, jealousy, to joy, elation, ecstasy. But to say how they feel about the world is to say worldview or value system. So that does make sense, but not emotional feelings, but an overall how you feel about the world in a really broad sense. Then he says, how this level integrates into thought and action are determined by the level of consciousness of the various spirits or influences in your head. Mother, for example. So that would be a very Freudian take. And yeah, absolutely. The various spirits.
Helix, right? You have the effeminate and masculine helixes together.
And the various spirits or influences can even be like, those are altitudes, those are parts of the integral model. Yeah. Spirits can mean a lot of things, but just the general, character or nature of a thing. Yeah. And so spirits or influences and the level of consciousness of emotion, it has possessed you enough to influence, determine action. Yeah. It's a pattern that's been worn into you. So again, this is a fucking YouTube comment. I want to point that out. To go on. Following this ego integration / shadow work would help to increase which level of consciousness you're manifesting, while a spiritual practice could help increase your level of born consciousness. Okay, no born consciousness, maybe sort of kind of, but it's not really integral. You're not born at a stage, so that's been covered. Ego integration shadow work is generally you're at a level and you have to deal with the levels beneath you. It's called Ken Wilber now calls it cleaning up or shadow work. And this is again like James said about the pyramid. It's like, okay, you have this realization, you have your higher chakras activated. There's still baggage and shadow and trauma to deal with at the lower stages that are messing up your lens, they're like your vehicle itself is having problems. So whatever realization you have, you might have trouble expressing it, communicating it, living it, integrating it, because of those lower level issues. And I like the line from Stuart Davis, the higher you climb, the more the ladder sways.
Yeah. I mean, if you have some sort of epiphany that is next tier or next thought or closer to enlightenment, maintaining that takes a solid base. You can't, you can shoot up. Flying is super easy. All you've got to do is jump and not come back down.
Yeah. Or learn how to land. Yeah. The flying part's easy. It's falling in style. Okay. So then he says, edit. This video was my first formal introduction to integral theory, and this comment was my first thought about it. Looking it up, I realized how vast of a scope it covers. I'm excited to begin delving into it. Also seems like the core sentiment I was getting at is reflected in Wilber's waking up versus growing up distinction, which seems to be a core aspect of the theory. So this is really cool. This is the most exciting thing about it is you have someone who's like watching these videos and actively learning this stuff. They make a comment that they themselves correct in the comment as they're watching it. So we're teaching people stuff.
Well, the comment itself is excellent.
Yeah.
Right, wrong. Otherwise, I don't think it's any of them. There's no wrong or right here. What an amazing first comment for first toe dip into the subject. Excellent.
It shows a real engagement. Yeah. For whatever that means. People are some people are engaging, and it shows effort. Like they're like, I want to comment on this. Like, very cool.
Very cool.
So that was in the wrong order. That was the Connor.
You Quentin Tarantino'd this comment.
I did.
You started with a room full of dead bodies and blood, and then cut to first. So
Johan, Christ on the crucifix. No.
No.
Back up. This is Quentin Tarantino. No, the end of days.
Yeah.
No. All right. In the beginning, we got another comment from Mr. Hart Teaches, the guy who was like, you guys want to be on our thing? And he just says, still going down the rabbit hole today and watched a lot of different videos, and yours are the best by far.
Oh,
I'm not sitting here. I'm not trying to gloat. I know our show is garbage, whatever, people. We got things to work on. But
garbage.
No, James, give me a chance. I agree with you. Because I'm an integral video watcher, and I watch all this stuff. There's a lot of good stuff out there. We're trying to do it in a way that's more similar to stuff that works on YouTube, I think, as opposed to things that work as integral as Ken Wilber. I have enough of that. I think that just the integral channel and Ken Wilber's own videos nail it, and he's the best talker on the subject. So I don't want to do that. That's kind of what the tutorials do, more or less, but it's all in this voice. It's all like we are kind of in what we were calling, this active generation. We're the generation that's just coming out of society being for us, so we have a unique angle and a unique voice. It's not very represented in this whole integral thing. So there's like a handful of us, like low budget channels putting out videos about this topic. And I think people are thirsty and will continue to be thirsty for it. And I hope that we can do better and that other channels can do this better, because there just isn't a lot of great content on integral. So yeah, I will buy that we're one of the better ones.
The contribution I can make to this channel and to this at Lowen movement .gov is
Even
that
Lowen 2024
is that I don't know enough about it to have, what would you say, not pious, sort of a what's the word I'm looking for, like this?
Grandiose, snobby,
snotty, snooty,
snooty, little stuck up.
Yeah, I don't know enough to talk down about it to someone else, such as a commenter, and I feel like my color commentator aspect of, hey, I don't know a lot about this. Adam knows quite a bit. I can ask the dumb questions. Or
there's no dumb questions, just dumb people.
So in classes, I always say there's no such thing as a dumb question unless I've already answered it.
Yeah. And this is what we were saying. This is a golden goose. Like, I spent a bunch of time making these like tutorials, and by filling in gaps in you guys' knowledge, that's what the show's for. It's like we're educating ourselves and them, and we're all learning along the path. And beautiful thing. Just so everyone knows, we're not all the integral guy. I'm the integral guy. Everyone else has their own angle, and they're all like kind of integral aware and integral interested.
I'd say I'm curious.
Well, I was going to say some of the best ways to actually, I think it behoove people in general to seek out those who think differently than them, as opposed to people who affirm what they already believe, just because we don't really learn much from, we can, there's things we can expand upon, but you really learn the most when you talk to somebody who kind of has opposite views, considering that they're actually thoughtful views. You know what I mean? That they put effort into thinking about them and like contemplating them.
The integral perspective is concerned with all quadrants, all levels, all lines, all types, all stages, so everything inclusive. We include everything and everyone and every perspective if we possibly can. That is our value system. 100%. To say, oh, like I have a pretty big blind side, or I'm a particular type that has an opposite that is functional and useful. So beautiful stuff happening there. That's why we want to showcase these. It can be a little wanky, like, hey, look at how these people think we're great. Nah, that's not the point. It's because we're engaging with people, and they're saying things that provoke us to interesting places. At Myth Films asks, what are these quadrants mentioned in the higher levels? So, I'm bringing up quadrants a lot. You guys might not know what that is. This viewer didn't, and I referred them. I put a link to my 1-minute integral video on quadrants, which might be too quick and confusing. It's a 1-minute video on a very complicated subject. I also have a tutorial that's very long form that explains them kind of confusingly. So there's no great treatment of quadrants here, but here, let me try it now, I suppose. So you take reality, and reality is being experienced right now as Adam experiencing, or James, whoever you are, you're experiencing, and that is reality that I am experiencing. Also, there's a reality that has nothing to do with that. That there's this organism and a society that produced it, and a brain that's generating whatever's happening. So you have these two dichotomous, contradictory perspectives that are the nature of reality: interiority and exteriority, the subjective experience and the objective reality. And the reason that these are hemispheres, right? So there's 4 quadrants. This is how you divide reality in half. We do it when we're babies and we form a self-concept. We take reality, which is this non-dual experience of consciousness as suchness, and we say, I'm this stuff. My environment is this stuff. We make that distinction. We take our scalpel and we make that cut. So from then on, we have this delusion of separation and this anxiety of not being myself anymore. But we aren't actually myself. That's a thing we made up when we were a baby. Like you are, because you think that, but it actually doesn't mean anything to be in here experiencing a world out there. So the nature of reality is non-dual, but every single one of us communicating with each other has split reality in half into these 2 hemispheres of interior and exterior. So when you start talking with people in various fields about various topics, you'll find a sort of supremacy that people will either focus on interiors and things or exteriors and things. You're either, let's say a scientific materialist, empirical fundamentalist that says, if you can't prove it using photons and electricity, then it isn't real to me. And then you have these people that are purely subjective. If I'm not experiencing it, it isn't real, which is maybe like solipsism. There's a couple names for that of like, I'm the only reality, what I'm experiencing. So in anything in all of reality, every level, every stage, you have at least these 2 perspectives you can take in, which are subjectivity, phenomenology, consciousness, and scientific material reality. Okay, so that's one of them. And then the other distinction that they do vertically is the distinction between individuals and collectives. So orange meme will manifest an atom, an individual. Orange meme will also be the group that I'm interacting with that taught me orange meme, that makes media and institutions that propagate orange meme. So you can't have an atom without a society that produces atoms. Can't do it. Why would I be here? Who gave birth to me? Who gave me my name and citizenship? I don't exist. Like, I wouldn't think the thoughts that I think if someone hadn't taught me a language. So I am I am a system. The system is me. I'm the English language. I'm the American culture. I'm a system, but I'm also this individual thing, this atom thing that is separate from the group, separate from the system, doing its own thing with its own plans. So in every case, in all of reality, you have the individual unit and the group collective expression of it. You also have the interior and the exterior. So that forms the 4 quadrants. The upper left is your individual interior, your consciousness, your awareness, the things that you personally are aware of emotionally and intellectual. The lower left is the things you and I have in common. So it's often called you or we. So when I talk to James and James understands me, we have a lower left quadrant formed there. We have a culture now because there's an entity created, which is not just me and not just James, it's us. That's a reality. That's an actual reality. And if you neglect that, you're going to miss 1/4 of perceivable reality. The upper right tends to deal with material reality. Like I, as an upper right phenomenon, am a body system, a brain system, neuronal patterns, hormonal patterns. I'm a physical, material, exterior individual entity. I'm also, like I said, a member of a social system. If I go outside, there's roads out here, there's streetlights out here, there's mailmen out here. That's a system that you can't abstract me from. I am always participating or trying to not participate in that system. So in all of reality, you have 4 totally different perspectives on it. And what happens philosophically with people is they tend to lean really heavily into a quadrant and live in denial of the other quadrants. Like I clearly fail at the collective quadrants, especially the lower left, the culture one. That one's the toughest one, is like understanding and integrating with culture. Do good on the other ones. So that's the quadrants, the quick and dirty on the quadrants. It's one of the most, it's probably the second most important thing that Wilber contributes to thought. This idea of, instead of reducing reality to quarks, atoms, molecules, cells, the smallest thing, the building block, the most fundamental thing, you go down there and you find that they stop behaving like building blocks. They start getting all weird and fuzzy and illogical. Well, okay, maybe the fundamental thing is this, not the undergirding of this, but this itself, consciousness and reality occurring simultaneously in the individual and the collective. So it's not the relativity, the way that the universe works physically in terms of forces and energies. It's reality is what's happening now. What's happening now is consciousness interacting with the material reality according to my imaginary understanding of what's happening. So like quadrants are fundamental to Unthink Me, you know, like thinking and me are a product of this system, and we're trying to deconstruct me and thought at the same time. So we're undoing it. Because the quadrants, to a certain extent, enlightenment is understanding that the quadrants are not separate. I'm not separate from everything. I'm not separate from you. I'm not separate from the things I'm experiencing. There is no separation. There's no boundary at all. This is the whole thing.
Can I, so if I'm understanding right, let me break it down to what I think I've got, and correct me when I'm wrong.
Perfect. Yes.
My thoughts, our thoughts, my body, our environment.
Yeah. And that's because yes, absolutely. That's really good. So I, we, it, it's, to put it into, pronouns. Pronouns, is that pronouns? The upper right also would include like light physics, individual, a box of candy. So anything physically real, objectively real. Yes. And so that as me expressed in the upper right is the physical body, is the physical process. Yeah. And yeah, I think that's pretty spot on. Yeah.
Okay. Some of what you're saying too reminds me of that theory of headlessness. It's like more of a meditation of like realizing that consciousness isn't this thing that comes outward from my eyeballs, but it's more of like an culmination of the entire universe from my neck up. You know what I mean? Like real true consciousness is like, I'm not this thing looking out. I am the entire universe. And then there's a body downward, in a sense. I know it's kind of, there's a lot I don't understand fully about it, but headlessness has really intrigued me, and it sounds like
absolutely
something is really correlated here.
It's kind of a spin on maybe like indigo or psychic level consciousness, but it starts coming out around teal, where you stop being your khakis and your job, and you're not an American, you're not a male, you're not white. You're just this process. You're just this thinking process that pilots all this shit and makes that door open and close and the lights turn on. But you're not identifying with this stuff. It's not me anymore. It's just a thing that's happening. And that changes because what's, a big problem, a big bias that we all have is the selfish bias, like that everything is either like an attack or, like a praise of me. Just like cut all that out. That's the me system. Like what's really happening? What is communication yielding in this situation? If you can kind of abstract yourself out, you don't need to be yourself so much. You don't have to be this person so much. You can be together witnessing this thing that these two people are doing that you kind of have nothing to do with. Like you didn't make your body, you didn't make your mind, you made it, you participated in that, but like you are to a certain extent a stranger in your own body, in your own world. I think that really comes out in second tier, and in third tier it gets reintegrated and feels more like home again, where you're like, okay, like I am subtle illumination and vision. I am pure consciousness. Like that actually is me. I feel at home here. That takes a minute to get back there, because home to us is this like agrarian blue meme family structure. And it's like, to a certain extent, you can't really ever get out of that, like your heart, but this headlessness, it sounds like, I've heard it put like, I'm not a head, but I'm a light bulb. The third eye opening, it kind of obliterates the body sense or opens it up so that in our normal gross material day-to-day life, we think of ourselves as having this like barrier of our skin, and then the world starts where our skin ends. In meditation, sit there and find out where that fucking barrier is.
Yeah,
I dare you. I've
that's
done
the
this
whole
for a long. You'll find it doesn't.
That's what the whole
you're
practice
imagining
is.
that boundary.
It's the whole practice is like there is no like this feeling of that we are inside this and that everything
Looking
rushes
out.
at us.
Yeah.
It's like it's not real. It's like that's just a product of the fact that we live in a biological body and have these things that interpret those things, you know what I mean, all through senses. But like the reality is like what it means to be conscious is just it's everything that's everywhere always right now, and it's your awareness of that. And you know, I'm butchering the explanation because I don't fully understand it.
Well,
but
everyone does. It's ineffable, and it can't be. It's not a knowledge thing that you communicate with words. It's like while you're experiencing it, you see it, and when you're not experiencing it, you no longer see it. Maybe this is a huge problem with mysticism: is when you're not in the state, you no longer know what you're talking about. You see God, and you come back, hey, everybody, I saw God. No, you're just ego now. You're just you're special now. That's a problem.
The moment you try to explain it, it goes away. You're like, now you're not explaining it anymore because you can't explain it.
So this is a theme that like we're going to come back to over and over again. Is like through in the transcendent thing, you see all these people that need to serve the lower levels probably more than the higher levels. And to get to headlessness, you need to have that head in the first place and then obliterate it. You got to learn the rules of jazz before you throw the book out, you know? So you have to have a solid, healthy ego. And then you say, I don't have an ego anymore. I'm not doing that. I'm just consciousness, and screw Andrew and his dumb story or whatever. Like, I'm just pure consciousness and I can do whatever I want. As long as this material will let me. Is it here? Is it here? And like, why do you think you're somewhere looking at it? Where are you? Where's the center? Is it in the middle of your head between your eyes? Like, really nail it down. Because that, again, is just imaginary. You have this imaginary field of location, and you're like, okay, I guess I'm in the center. This is a heliocentric model of the self. I must be the center of everything. There's no center.
Yeah,
There's
no, and
space.
I would expand on that too and say that although there isn't really a point, right? The point isn't the point, let's say, but it's the process, right? It kind of goes back to the question of why. Like the process of just trying to find that is enough. You know what I mean? You don't have to actually find that there is or isn't something there. It's just it's kind of the idea of just questioning your behaviors or thoughts. You don't need an answer to it. The questioning itself is what's important. It's what's most beneficial, is just to question it.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's the nature of the koan, is like in Zen, it's a question that can't be solved. So you just question. The question mark is the exclamation. It's the end. Is to be so unable to answer a question that the mind is just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Which my God, it's peace. I have peace.
Yeah. It makes sense, right? We're like wired to like have an equation 2 + 2, and we want to know what it equals, right? We have, like, our brains are built for that pattern and to see it a result.
But I had a word for that, the thing that fills in the gap with the rational, like force it to work thing.
Yeah, and we don't. I think meditation's kind of about that, right? It's like the process of trying to not do that all the time. It's like let's just experience what the equation 2 + 2. It doesn't need to have an answer. Just look at the equation.
Yeah. Just get above it and look at it. It's like, why do I see that equal sign and it forces me to do work? There's just 4 and a plus and a 4. They're doing fine. It's a happy little situation you got there with your 4s. So yeah, that's getting into the transcendent stuff. And I'm sure we'll have guests that'll be like just the perfect person to do this like deep dive into where subject and object actually are located in this moment right now. I've taken a few swings at it, but I'm not myself like an expert. I'm like I've gotten my toes wet, as many of us have. Be cool to have some experts. I really tried to get one, but it didn't work out for me because because of those temple steps.
It might be interesting to have my buddy Franco. He's a PhD like mathematician, and he's crazy. He's like a robot brain, but he also digs deep into philosophy, and we have long discussions like this. It might be interesting to see how you and him communicate. I think you guys would have a lot of really interesting conversations.
Great, awesome. Okay, we got motherfucking. I think we got one more. All right, because quadrants. I knew that would be a bit of an undertaking. Okay. We got one more response from @NomicVed or Naomi Kved.
Oh,
our little friend. We gave a nice little hour and a half long talk, somewhat directed at this commenter, but more as just like a launching point. Now, what they're saying this time, I think it could also be interesting to hear you discuss thoughts on near-death experiences at some point. And we always have to point to Ken Wilber's little parable where the student comes to the master and says, "Master, I need to know what happens after we die." The master says, "I don't know." He's like, "Well, but you're the enlightened master. You're supposed to know everything. You're the enlightened master." "Yes, but not a dead one." So nobody knows what about this. I recall being I read all those like Moody books. I think it's Dr. Raymond Moody, Life After Life, and this was what popularized the near-death experience as like a concept. As we all know, like when people die, a certain pattern seems to occur a lot of the time that resembles transcendent states and maybe suggests the possibility of something that is interpreted as afterlife. I have like a pretty long story to tell about that I won't do today, but basically like I believed in reincarnation for a medium-term time, and it was very wild. And then I stopped believing in reincarnation, and not really sure because I don't really believe in anything. I think reincarnation's possible. As far as near death, that would definitely be like a whole episode thing. And again, it would be cool to have a guest who's nearly died. I've like nearly died, but not you.
A couple times.
Oh yeah, that's right. No, you have. Yeah,
several.
You told me. Okay, so maybe we can do but you didn't have like the NDE thing at all, right?
The what?
You know, when you're like in a tunnel of light and all your loved ones.
I didn't have the loved one. I did have. I had one where it was an accidental but obvious. It wasn't an intentional overdose when I was younger, and then it was in a really bad car accident, and then another two, where I was kind of a daredevil when I was younger, so I did really risky stuff, and I jumped off like a 500 drop quarry that was just terrible. And it wasn't the impact that was life threatening. It was the fact that we had to swim like 1.5 miles through the quarry. Otherwise we were going to drown. And I kind of went through a whole thing where I was removing my clothes. It was a really traumatic kind of situation. And then a boulder almost crushed me when I was climbing. So the only one though that I would say that I got to that tunnel was the overdose. That was the one where I actually experienced something beyond any concept. And if you'd like, I could give you a little like, iteration of that, like tell you that story.
Well, let's do a whole show. I had kind of forgotten that, so yeah, like we'll do a whole show on near death. But just to kind of put the nail in that one, it's a great suggestion. It's definitely something I've been wanting to do for a while. I don't really have a particular opinion on it, but there's a lot to explore and unpack, and especially with our guests and everything. What happens when we die? Yeah,
that's the question, right?
Let's find out.
There's a whole movie on that. Remember the
dude? If I do it, I'm doing it like this. You guys ain't never seen that before. Just
in your nose.
Yeah, I'm not recommending anything, but if and when, do your research. Come on.
And then
that up.
That's all serious. Everything. First, get help before you try.
Yeah, just don't do it.
See if the world can actually help heal you before that.
My take on that, because I can talk for 10 seconds. Like, my whole problem is because I'm gonna die. What the fuck? Like, when you're trying to be in power of the thing, like that I'm dying is the whole issue. I'm gonna kill myself. That doesn't make any. I just don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, if I was in horrible, excruciating pain, then it makes perfect sense. Like, there's a reason why.
Yeah, exactly. Like, assisted suicide. Like, there's definitely. I've actually taken care of many patients that it was very obvious. There's paraplegics, people with specific muscle disorders that just degrade them as they slowly die. I mean, that is, in that situation, it's like an act of compassion more than anything, and it obviously involves their own, their own choice in that matter. But When it comes beyond that, a lot of it's just a disorder. There's just things that are mixed up in there, and it's in the end, there's a reason why statistically people who survive it are less likely. There is this percentage that do, but there's a reason why one of the most consistent testimonies of that is like right when they decide it, they go, "Why the hell did I do that? That wasn't the solution."
Yeah.
If
I think there's an element. Go ahead.
Is thinking about committing suicide, please reach out for help.
Yes.
Yes.
Most like temporary.
Come to my facility.
Yeah.
And
We're joshing around a lot, but yeah, like this is a serious topic. Definitely. Good God.
Talk to someone about it. The first thing do, just talk to someone about it. Say, this is how I feel, and let it go from there. That's the very first step. It's similar to AA. Just admit that it's in your mind.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And, I think that the motive often is like more of a desire to punish either for others or for yourself than an actual lack of desire to live. I think that in the suicidal mind, it's more of a reaction socially or like that I'm so despicable and unacceptable that we have to get rid of me, less than that I don't actually want to experience life anymore.
Mm-hmm. It's
my
a
own little.
No, I agree. It also connects with like just a desperation to feel. A lot of people that are in that state, again, not that everybody is, and I'm not meaning to lump together.
Yeah.
It's just like it's a similar to that self-harm thing. It's just a desire to feel. Sometimes life can make us feel numb, especially if we avoid a lot of trauma and we haven't really addressed certain thought patterns. Again, it's more of an argument for communicating and just talking about it. It's a lot of social work and like shame research is about that.
Or it's people that feel too much, right? It's people that are hypersensitive and they think they're feeling all these things that maybe necessarily aren't there, but yeah.
Which sometimes can lead to a different type of numbness, right? It's sometimes we shut down. Yeah, sometimes we get overwhelmed and we short circuit and we're just like, I'm not feeling anything. Like I'm feeling so much I can't even identify a detail out of it. So therefore, what am I feeling? But yeah, we could speculate all day on this. It's pretty.
Yeah, we just opened the
complex.
two biggest can of worms in the universe, like near death and suicide.
Yeah. Many topic. We could have like hours and hours and days of conversation about stuff like that.
Sometimes I run.
I saw that in a movie once.
Beautiful. Well, that covers the mailbag.
That was 4.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sorry, I miscounted. I'll make up a pretend one. Hey guys, this is I was just checking out your channel's content and wanted to say great job, guys. And that guy on the left is very good looking. I'd really like to. Is there any way I can get in touch with that guy? Yeah, absolutely. I'm assuming you're talking about me. I guess go to like the Facebook page and I'll just get our. No. You guys haven't.
Just to blanket the idea, this kind of stuff that you're doing online and raising discussions about deep thoughts and things that are closely related to the human condition. I think that we need more of this and many more outlets all throughout the world. We're at a time now where it's so entertainment and the ocean of stuff that we can get is so abundant that we can get trapped in stuff that isn't really, it's not very useful to us. It may help us pass the time, but it's not really helping us grow, get out of our comfort zone and think about things. And the more of these kind of things that are attractive to people, which it takes diversity for that to happen, the better off we're going to be as a human species. I can see a world where one day, although entertainment will always be a thing, there will be more value placed on deep discussions and just kind of exploring our thoughts and our ideas and who we are.
Yeah, so. I hope that we're health food and not junk food. I hope that we're not mentally fattening. We try to be entertaining, but yeah, this is hopefully we're being deep enough and people are learning.
I think so.
Yeah.
It stimulates me. This is a good. I'm glad you've been a part of the conversation. I need to do this more often.
Yeah.
I imagine we're painting a picture, right? In a group of people, it's like we're all painting a canvas together, right? And we're doing our best to return to what the bigger picture is, and we're trying to really see what's happening there. And if we don't somewhat, at least a little bit, have some guidelines that help us do that, then it's sometimes we just get off and we end up painting on the wall and making images that don't really fit the matter.
it's upper and lower quadrants. You know, like
Mhm.
I'm just drawing this little stroke. That's me, my role, and then
Mhm.
but the whole painting is this, and I'm just a little tiny piece of that. Doesn't you can take or leave me.
Yep.
Cool. Well, I guess that's how we sign off.
Well, that's the end. It just ends to like still mid. Well, it's like where, and it just cuts.
Well, small victories. Our first four-person podcast, 3 calls. This is a new achievement unlocked. We got a little medal, and this has been Unthink Me, answering some messages and introducing Mr. Andrew to the show.
The 6 o'clock rigmarole is usually like, does this light work? Is this good, honey? Is this good? No,
Yeah, it's all right.
Did you hear me though? That's about 20 minutes.
Well, Andrew, I love you, and it's been awesome
Love you
having you
too.
on the show. And I'm sure you'll be back, and you are well met, my friends.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. It was nice to meet you, James.
Yeah, totally.
And what? Who else is with you?
I'm Danielle.
Nice to meet you too, Danielle.
Nice to meet you.
Danielle, did I spell your first name correctly? Well, this is Unthink Me signing off, and we love you.
Yeah.
Love
Bye.
you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye. Okay, love you. Bye.
I love you all. Bye.
War.